Well, hey everybody. Today we're going to build a plant stand for the grow bags. I've had a lot of inquiries about it. I've dumbed it down. We're going to make it very simple. Just need a few tools and you can put one of these together in no time. So let's get started. To get started with this, you're going to need a few tools. You're going to need a tape measure, pencil, a screw gun, and some deck screws, 2.5-inch deck screws. That's what I use. You will also need the wood for it. I make mine out of 2x3 pressure treated fence rails. They're cheap. I buy 10 of them for one 8-foot long plant stand. Okay, so let's take a look at a sketch of the drawing for the plans, and it's real basic. It's, like I said, 96 inches long, 20 inches high, and 24 inches wide. Really the only thing you need to know about this is, first of all, when you put the legs onto the side rail, how you attach that will determine which way the screws are pointed, which means if you don't want to see the screws from looking at the side of it, you'll want to screw them from the inside. So I typically lay that rail on top of the legs just because it's easier and quicker, and I drill them in so you can see the screws on my tables, except for one of them, which I did the other way. I've built these things 3 different ways. So again, just so you know, when you're done, you don't surprise yourself and you have screws visible that you wish weren't. Keep that in mind when you put the legs together. On the bottom view, you will see that one little stretcher / cleat that connects the 2 sides together. You screw those into the legs and from the sides as well for extra support. And then the slats just go across the top and you drill them in, 1 screw on each end, and as far apart as you want them. You can have as many slats as you want. Obviously, the farther they are apart, the fewer cuts you're going to have to make. So you'll have to figure that out, and I describe that here in a minute, how I did all that. So let's get to it. First thing I'm going to do is measure out my legs, cut my legs off at 20 inches. I'll need 6 legs per table. 2 on each end and 2 in the middle to give you good support. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with all the cutting, but here I'm cutting off the ends. I typically do that. You just got to be careful not to cut off too much so that you have enough to get 4 boards or at least 3 boards out of one 8-foot board. And basically just cut the first one to 24 inches, and then you use that one board as a template for everything else. That way all your boards are exactly the same, and even if they're a little short or a little long, at least they're all uniform and they look okay. Okay guys, so the camera didn't record when I was putting the base together here, but all I did was put 1 full board on the ground. These are the legs I just cut. I actually laid it down like this, where the board was on top, and I just measured to the center, marked it so I knew where to put this board. I put 1 on each end, put 2 screws on each one, and we're good to go. I did that on both sides. So now you have this, and now we need a cross support on there, and I want it to be 24 inches total. So because I have a board on the outside of the legs, I'm going to have a 21-inch span here that I need to cut as a support. These are 1.5 inches wide, so 1.5 inches times 2 is 3. 24 minus 23, or 24 minus 3 is 21. And so that's what I'm going to cut next.
Okay, so I cut my supports or stringers, whatever you want to call them, 21 inches. They fit right here. I'm going to attach them to the legs. And through here. You just want to make sure when you're doing this that you have this flush against the floor, because in my garage floor it slopes, most of them do. So you just want to make sure you're getting it flush, so that on the other side, which is the top side, that it's all even. So that's what I'm going to do now, is screw all these in. Okay, so everything's together. So now we'll flip it over. All right, guys, so all I have to do next is cut a bunch of 24, a little over 24, 24 and an eighth, 24 and a quarter boards that just go across. So I'll put, when I get them cut, I'll put one on the end, one on that end, and I'll put one in the middle, and then I'll space them out, you know, about the width of one of these boards. I'll just use a piece of scrap, and I'll do that up into, you know, from one end to the other. And when I get here, I know it's not going to be exact, but I'll just space it out so that it looks nice. And that way I don't have to worry about exact distances or anything like that. Just keep it simple, keep it quick, so you can get this out in the garden and start using it. So let me get all those boards cut, and then we'll come back and screw them down. All right, guys, so I cut all the slats or cross pieces for the top. I think I have enough. Here. Now you can put these as close as you want, as far as part, whatever. And some of that might depend on what size grow bags you are using. I use mainly 7-gallon for my plants, most of all. So I know one of those will fit with a space of one board between them. So I'll screw down the one on the end, on each end, then I'll just use a board to space these out. And you know, they'll have plenty of room for drainage and everything to happen. And that way you don't have, you know, obviously the closer together, the more cuts you're going to have to make, the more boards you're going to need. You could do it this way, whatever you see fit. Obviously you don't want them too far apart, because you won't have enough support on your bags and they'll start sagging a little bit. So I have found one space is about probably as much as you want to have in between the boards. I'll put one screw on each side. On the first table I built, I had 2 screws. I was afraid these were going to start cupping and, you know, get all uneven and everything. I have not had that happen. The tables that I have already out there are a year old, so I would figure by now they would be cupping if that was going to be an issue. So all right, so I just thought I'd show you how I'm doing this. I screwed the end one down. I did use 2 screws on there. You may get a little splitting. If you want to pre-drill your holes, be my guest. I'm not doing that. So I spaced it, put one down. Here's the spacer, put the board next to it. Don't put it too tight, you won't be able to get your spacer out. And on these, I'm just putting in one screw. So it's as simple as that. Countersink your screws in a little bit so you don't have any snags if you got your bags on there. And there you go. So I'll just do that all the way down. Okay guys, so I got it all done. Here's the finished product. And that's all there is to it. It's nothing fancy. It's a functional stand. It's sturdy, and it can hold anything you put on it. All these slats really give it a lot of structure. So anyway, that's all there is to it. If you have any comments, just comment below. You could put supports going across the bottom, towards the bottom of the legs. I like to have it open because you have to, I have grass back there and I have to get the weed eater underneath there to keep it nice and neat. So something to consider when you're building yours. So anyway, that's all there is to it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like the content, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can get further videos as they come out. Thanks for watching.